I want to just talk first about a extremely non-controversial issue that I think I'm happy to work with the USDA on. You've been already putting out some aggressive goals on reducing food waste, and the USDA has really been out there promoting some of the challenges that we're facing. As you know, 40% of the food produced in the United States is wasted, and that's a shocking amount of food when we have 25 million hungry Americans. If we reduced it by just 15%, we could feed 25 million hungry Americans. So there's a lot we could be doing here. It's an environmental challenge. It costs us a lot of money. It costs every family a lot of money. It's a problem for businesses in our country at the retail level and the manufacturing level. And I'm really pleased that you've set a high goal of reducing food waste by 50% in 2030. I've also sponsored a piece of legislation around that, and I've been really impressed at the level of interest from all sectors. And this is, as I said, it's not a partisan, it's not a controversial issue, but there's a lot of work that has to be done. So I'd love to hear you talk a little bit about that, and I have a couple of quick questions. I mean, obviously we put forward legislation, and we hope that Congress will adopt our magnificent, huge bills, and that rarely happens. But hopefully we'll find a few ways to eke away at this. But I also think there are many things within the department. You've done a lot already and suggested a lot of goals already. But I'm going to ask you about a couple of things that maybe you could do without having to have legislative bill before you. One of them we've looked at is thinking about the NRCS to include composting practice within the EQUIP program. Is that something that you might be willing to look at? Also, are there other things that you've been considering that could be just changes in how some of the programs work and how they could be expanded to help with the reduction of food waste? And are there any things in particular in the FY17 budget that are there to address some of the issues and the broad range of issues that we're talking about?
Well, Congressman, we appreciate you raising this issue because you're absolutely correct. It is an issue, and frankly, if we could reduce food waste globally, we would probably be able to feed the 850 million people that are food insecure in the world today. Look, it's three things. It's reduce, it's recycle and reuse. On the reduce side, it's basically working with the food industry, with the restaurant industry, with grocery stores that have delis, to basically take a look at the portion sizes that are being supplied, because oftentimes they are more than people need, and oftentimes they're not the kind of food that you will take home in a doggy bag kind of thing. So it's basically taking a look at really making sure that we reduce this. We're working, interestingly enough, focusing on some of the universities. They've noticed that depending upon how they construct the trays and what the trays look like, they can substantially reduce the amount of food waste and the amount of food that people take. So we're going to continue to work with this. We're also looking at our school lunch program, creating a table, a choice table, where if a youngster is not interested in a particular fruit because he doesn't like apples but he likes oranges, basically allowing people to put a fruit on the plate, from their plate on the table, and take a fruit that they do like from the table and put it on their plate. We're looking at the ability to reuse food. We've worked with HHS and FDA and others to try to streamline the rules for charitable contributions of food. There are many, many ways in which unused food could potentially be used in food banks and in community kitchens, but there are regulations that are barrier. Let's take a look at those regulations and see if they can be fixed. And then on the recycle piece of this, even at our own facility at USDA, we've begun an issue of recycling both our coffee grounds at the main headquarters here in D.C., using it I think on our People's Garden. Also at our labs, we're recycling some of the waste product from our labs and composting that as well. You mentioned an interesting idea, which I'm happy to take back to NRCS and have them think creatively about how EQUIP could potentially be used to support this. So it's all of that, and it's also working in the international sphere as part of our Smart Agricultural Alliance. To the extent that you can reduce food waste, you reduce what it goes into the landfills, because the single largest piece of solid waste in a landfill is food waste. It's a producer of methane, and we can make a big dent on this.